episode number 830, Inviting Members Through Social Media.
You're listening to the official BNI podcast with BNI founder and Chief Visionary Officer, Dr. Ivan Misner. Stay tuned for networking and referral marketing tips from the man who's been called the father of modern networking, along with suggestions and insights into getting the most from your membership in the world's largest networking organization, BNI.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the official BNI podcast. I'm Priscilla Rice, and I'm coming to you from Live Oak Recording Studio in Berkeley, California, and I'm joined on the phone today by the founder and the Chief Visionary Officer of BNI, Dr. Ivan Misner. Hello, Ivan. How are you, and where are you?
Oof, Priscilla, I'm taking a breath, and I'm actually home in Austin this week. So I'm headed out soon, but I'm home this week.
Oh, that's nice. And who do you have online for us today?
I have a guest. His name is Darren Jameson. Darren joined BNI in 2012. He's a former chapter president. He's currently a 100-point member on traffic lights, which is amazing to me. He's brought in over 30 visitors to his chapter in the first 6 months of 2023, and all of it through social media. He's also delivered a TEDx talk on using social media to track a cyber bully's identity. That would make an interesting discussion, Darren. So he knows a thing or two about getting results on social platforms. Darren, welcome to the BNI podcast.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
Well, it's great to have you here. And I'm going to start off, we talked very briefly before we got started. I'm going to start off by saying I've never been a fan of what I see a lot of chapters do with social media and trying to get members, where they just post something. Hey, here's our website. Here's our chapter. Come visit us. And it's not very proactive. It's just kind of putting stuff out there and hoping that somebody bites. And I don't find that to be a very effective approach. But you're talking about something completely different than that, using social media, but completely different than that approach, right?
Absolutely, yes. No, you're completely right. If you just post something on social media and expect people to come to you, it's very passive. It's very unlikely that you're going to get any kind of results with that. I'm talking about something far more proactive and targeted.
Yes, and I love your first phrase, so I'm really interested to hear this one. So your first concept is using an existing BNI member as bait. Tell me what that means.
Yeah, I mean, you're a big into fishing, I believe. So you know to use the right bait when you're trying to catch the right kind of fish.
Yeah.
So when you're looking for, say for example, you're looking for a tradesman like a plumber or an electrician, what you would do is you would send them a message, something on the lines of, do you get a lot of work from real estate agents, from lettings agents? Or do you get a lot of work from architects, if you've got one of those in your chapter?
Yes.
And you'll either get the response from them of, well, yes, I do get lots of work from them, or no, I don't, but I'd really like to. And it's very simple then to turn the conversation via social media, via messaging around to, well, I'm meeting a real estate agent or an architect friend of mine on Thursday morning. Why don't you come along with me and I'll introduce you to him and you can tell him about your business and maybe he'll be able to put some work your way.
And you find that people will respond to that. They don't feel like you're going to try and pitch them on something.
No. They find that when you do something like that, it's almost like you're offering them the benefit. You're giving them, doing them a favor. So if you were to invite them to a BNI meeting, then yes, that would be a cold invite. And they may have had something like that before, or they'll be suspicious that they're going to come along and be charged and get asked to join a meeting. But you're not doing that. You're doing them a favor. And that's the important thing with this strategy, because a lot of people I speak to are concerned about inviting visitors or worry about inviting visitors is they don't like the rejection. They don't like somebody saying, no, I don't want to come along. But if you get the mindset into your way of thinking that I'm doing them a favor, I'm inviting them to come along and meet someone who could potentially give them work, then it's much easier to do.
And you invite them to a BNI meeting where you're going to introduce them.
Exactly. Yeah. It is important that you do, if you have the architect or the real estate agent in your chapter, that you do ask their permission before you do this. You don't just turn up with 5 or 6 plumbers and say, here you go, have at them.
Yeah, good point.
It's not just plumbers or real estate as well. It's whenever there's a member in your chapter who tends to be at the start of the process for work. So, for example, if you have a wedding planner in your chapter, you could invite photographers or videographers or caterers to come along and meet them, because they always want to meet somebody like that.
Right, and they can create a power team out of that because they prefer one another. Yeah,
exactly. Yes.
All right, so tell me about going fishing for specific categories.
I love this one. And I've done this myself with success. We needed a cleaner for our office because we bought a new 2-story office, and we needed a commercial cleaner to come in and work with us maybe every 2 weeks or every month. And there was nobody in my BNI chapter. And obviously I wanted a cleaner so that I could refer them and that I could get the thank you for the business, because, I want to be on 100 points for as long as possible. So rather than put a post on social media and say, I'm looking for a cleaner, get some recommendations, and then reply to those and say, come along to my office and quote for me, what I did was I found a local Facebook group that had a lot of people in it. I put in some photographs of our new office with our new branding, which was also done by another BNI member. So a bit of advertising for ourselves in that way, and said, who would you recommend as a commercial cleaner who could come and work for us? And we had maybe 50, 60, 70 comments from people recommending different cleaners around the area. Each one of those then I responded to and said, you've been recommended in this Facebook group. We have a commercial office. We'd like you to quote for cleaning it. But rather than come to our office, could you meet me on Thursday morning at my business referral meeting and we can talk about the work? And we actually got, I think it was something like 5 or 6 cleaners turn up over a 3 or 4 week period. One of them applied and joined, and she now still cleans our office some 18 months later.
Oh, excellent. What a great way to do it. That's very, very creative. I'm impressed.
And I even told this story in an education slot about 3 months after that, about how to invite visitors this way and get them to come along to the meeting. And the cleaner was there. She was in the meeting, and she didn't know when she came along that it was a BNI meeting.
Yeah.
And I asked her the question, what was it like when you came along? Because, you didn't know what you were getting yourself in for. And she said to me, had you told me it was a BNI meeting and that I would have to stand up and give her 60 seconds, there is no way I would have come along.
Okay.
But I am so glad that I did, because I love it.
All right, but you did tell her it was a referral group, so she was expecting a group of people.
I told her it was a referral group. Yes, I did. I just didn't mention anything about standing up and talking in front of people, and I didn't mention the fact that it was BNI.
Fair enough. I find that the less information you give, the better. Just come to the group, bring plenty of business cards, that kind of thing. That's the way I opened the first 20 chapters. We had no material, and there was no website, no internet, no social media. And, I just said, come along, bring plenty of business cards. We're a referral organization. So I used a very similar technique to open the first 20 groups. All right, so talk about the invite itself. We got a couple of minutes still. Talk about the invite itself.
Yeah, this is the thing that really clinches it for me. When I confirm the invite, what I will do is I will send out an email, and it's always a templated email. So I'm literally copying and pasting the content. And I will invite the visitor that I'm inviting in the to field. In the CC field, I will put in all of the members of the chapter. And then I will put in the location of where the meeting is. So our meeting is at Rowton Hall Hotel and Spa, which has a bit of gravitas anyway. It sounds like a nice venue. And I will put in the date of the meeting. And then in the email field, then I'll give them the address, nice and big and bolded. Right at the bottom, I'll say that, it's a £16 meeting to come along to. That's not right at the front, that's at the back. But the important thing is you're copying in the members. That does a couple of different things. Firstly, it shows them all the different members that are going to be there, so they can see there's a lot of people that are going to be attending. But it also puts a little bit of peer pressure, because when they know that all of these local businesses are expecting them to turn up on that BNI meeting, then they're more inclined to make it, because they don't want to let so many people down who know that they're going to come along.
Yeah.
And the final thing that I think is good for this, that works really well, And this can be difficult depending on how engaged your BNI chapter actually is that if you have one or two members, particularly ones with synergy with the visitor that you're inviting, if they then respond and reply to all on that email and say how much they're looking forward to meeting that person and talking about their business, not your own business, of course, their business.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you're inviting a wedding photographer and you've got a videographer and a caterer in the chapter, if they reply and say how much they want to talk about the photographer's business, it really makes them feel that they're going to get the benefit of coming along, and it really shores up the fact that your visitor is going to turn up.
Yeah, I love this. This is a great approach, and what I particularly like about it is it's proactive, not passive, and that's always been my issue with social media, is that people use it passively, but this is a very proactive utilization of social media. What a great concept. I really like it. Darren, do you have any closing thoughts before I give your website out to everybody?
Yeah, I think when you're looking at somebody who you can use as bait, a good idea is to listen to your other members' 60 seconds and who is it that they're always asking for. So flooring companies, carpet fitters and electricians will typically ask for introductions to office removal companies or office fit-out companies because they can give them work. These are the people you want to get in your chapter because they are the ideal ones to use as bait. Whoever is it sounds horrible saying that, doesn't it?
It does a little, but it's funny.
They are the ones that you want to use as the bait because they're the ones everybody wants to be introduced to. And when you've got somebody like that, it's so easy to get visitors. So we've just had an architect and a lettings agent join our chapter. I am very excited for the next couple of months because I'm going to get so many visitors using the architect and the letting agent as bait for our chapter.
Well, Darren, thank you so much for this BNI podcast. Anyone who's interested in checking out Darren's website, it's engageweb.co.uk. That's engageweb.co.uk. Darren, thanks for being a guest on the BNI podcast.
Thank you very much. I've loved every moment of it. Over to you, Priscilla.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that. It's very interesting. This podcast is sponsored by MeisnerAudioPrograms.com. These audio programs will provide you with the tools and inspiration to powerfully enhance your BNI experience. So check out the great material that's available to you at MeisnerAudioPrograms.com. And then use the promo code IVAN50 for 50% off of everything. All of the proceeds go to the BNI Foundation. Thank you so much for listening. This is Priscilla Rice, and we look forward to having you join us again next week for another exciting episode of the official BNI podcast.